Okay, good evening, and thank you for viewing and attending the September 6th meeting of the Arcata City Council. The City Council meeting is being held as a hybrid meeting with both in-person attendance and teleconference access via Zoom. Our first item this evening is a land acknowledgement, which will be read by Vice Mayor Matthews.
Thank you. The City of Arcata acknowledges that the land we are located on are the unceded ancestral lands of the Wiyot tribe. The land that Arcata rests on is known in the Wiyot language as Gudini, meaning over in the woods or among the redwoods. Past actions by local, state, and federal governments removed the Wiyot and other indigenous peoples from the land and threatened to destroy their cultural practices. The City of Arcata acknowledges the Wiyot community, their elders, both past and present, as well as future generations. This acknowledgement seeks to aid in dismantling the legacy narratives of settler colonialism.
Thank you. Now please join us for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Will the city clerk please call the roll?
Mayor Schaefer,
Here.
Vice Mayor Matthews,
Here.
Councilmember Stillman,
Present.
Councilmember White, here, Councilmember Atkins Salazar,
Here.
all present.
If you wish to make a comment this evening during the 2 open public comment periods or for an individual agenda item, there are 3 ways to do so. If you're here in person, please line up behind the podium when the item you would like to speak on is accepting public comment. If you are logged onto Zoom, please click raise your hand when it is time for public comment on the item you wish to speak. If you are on the phone, press *9 on your phone to raise your hand, and when it is your turn, you will be prompted to dial *6 to unmute your phone. For each item, we take in-person public comment first, and then we'll move to online comments. We will not be going back and forth, so if you want to comment, please line up at the podium or raise your electronic hand when comment is being requested for that item. All right, our next section is ceremonial matters, and our first proclamation this evening will be read by Councilmember Stillman, and it is a proclamation recognizing September 21st, 2023 as the International Day of Peace.
Thank you. International Day of Peace. Whereas the International Day of Peace was established by the United Nations in 1981 as an annual observance in September, and in 2001, the UN General Assembly set September 21st as an annual day of nonviolence and ceasefire. The theme for 2023 is Actions for Peace. And whereas the United Nations recognizes that lasting peace requires protection of the human rights of all people, social justice and development, economic justice, equality, equity and health, health services, environmental justice, climate action, and all are critical parts of the peace process. And whereas the United Nations invites all governments, nations, communities to end conflicts, instead promote peace and harmony by commemorating the day through action supporting sustainable development and supporting human rights for all people. There is hope of strengthening the culture of peaceful living by seeking to understand ourselves and others, and accepting people of different cultures, countries, and religions, and celebrating our differences to make the world an interconnected, peaceful, and healthy place, which history has shown it can be done. Now therefore it be proclaimed by the City Council of the City of Arcata, hereby recognizes September 21st, 2023 as the International Day of Peace, and encourages the community to work together to end racism and create lasting peace for all people, locally and globally. It's dated as of today, and it's signed by Mayor Schaefer. And my understanding is Martha Hart is going to accept it, but she's on Zoom. Is that correct? Martha, you are not in the audience? Okay, thank you.
I don't have anyone with Martha. I do have a call-in user. Call-in user, if you are Martha, go ahead. Okay. I think she's not online, but we will get it to her.
Thank you.
All right, our next proclamation is in recognition of International Walk to School Day, October 4th, 2023. Whereas millions of school children in 40 different countries are celebrating International Walk to School Day this October by participating in activities for International Walk to School Day on Wednesday, October 4th, 2023. And whereas driving students to school in private vehicles contributes to traffic congestion and air pollution, when fewer cars are on the road, the entire community benefits and children's walking and biking routes to school are safer. And whereas parents and other community members have helped build Arcata's safe routes to school by identifying pedestrian safety issues and advocating for environmental policy and personal changes to create more pedestrian-friendly neighborhoods. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the City Council of the City of Arcata hereby recognizes October 4th, 2023 to be International Walk to School Day. The Council encourages everyone to consider the safety and health of children today and every day. Dated September 6th and signed by myself. And wondering, Carrie Hurst is on Zoom, hopefully, to accept from Arcata Elementary.
She is. Go ahead, Carrie. Go ahead and unmute, Carrie.
Sorry about that. Okay. On behalf of Arcata Elementary School District, I would like to accept this recognition of International Walk to School Day on Wednesday, October 4th, 2023. The students and staff of both Arcata Elementary and Sunnybrae Middle School look forward to participating in this annual worldwide event celebrating an active lifestyle in safe communities. Thank you, City Council, for your proclamation.
Thank you, Carrie. All right, our next proclamation will be read by Councilmember White, and it is a proclamation in recognition of Coastal Cleanup Month, September 2023.
Thank you. Whereas the state of California has a varied coastline of sandy beaches, rocky shores, productive estuaries, marshes, tidal flats, urban areas, and harbors, and whereas the marine environment is one of the most valuable resources for recreation, tourism, fishing, and other coastal activities. Coastal protection is a responsibility shared by residents, the business community, and public institutions. And whereas the North Coast Environmental Center is the Humboldt County organizer for 2023 Coastal Cleanup Month, taking place every weekend in September, during which an anticipated 1,000 people will clean beaches, rivers, streets, and estuaries along the entire Humboldt coastline. Neighborhood cleanups, where trash is collected from streets, sidewalks, and urban areas, helps prevent plastics and other debris from collecting in the ocean and marine habitats. And now, therefore, it be proclaimed that the City Council of City of Arcata recognizes the month of September as Coastal Cleanup Month and encourages individuals, businesses, service groups, and public institutions to safely hit the beach to jointly promote a healthy and productive coastal environment. Dated September 6, 2023, by our Mayor, Sarah Schaefer. And so I believe I have Sable. And they are the program coordinator for the North Coast Environmental Center. And I'm going to try to get your last name, Audrey? Audrey. Okay, thanks.
The Coastal Cleanup Day started with the North Coast Environmental Center here in Arcata 44 years ago, and has now become one of the, sorry, that would help, has now become one of the world's largest volunteer events associated with the marine environment. So we've got cleanups happening all month long, every weekend. So I hope you can visit our website and come check it out. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, our next proclamation will be read by Councilmember Atkins Salazar, and this is a proclamation recognizing September 2023 as Community Pride and Peace Month.
Whereas Community Pride and Peace has the mission to inspire pride and peace in our community by putting solutions into action. Through unity and respect, their mission is to bring our communities locally and globally together to create and be the positive change we want to see in the world. And whereas CCP has partnered with other local nonprofits and businesses to create events, clean up neighborhoods, share local resources, connect various organizations to solve problems together, and to feature local leaders. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the City Council of the City of Arcata, in recognition of Community Pride and Peace, does hereby recognize the month of September as Community Pride and Peace Month in the City of Arcata and urges the Arcata community to support these efforts. It's dated today, September 6, 2022, signed by our Mayor Schaefer. And I don't see Ken in the audience to accept. Is there someone else from the organization here to accept on his behalf? Okay, well, we will get it to him. Thank you.
We will get that to Ken. Thank you. All right. Our last proclamation is in recognition of Queer Community and Culture Awareness Month, and this will be read by Vice Mayor Matthews.
Yeah, and before I read this, I just want to acknowledge that even as far as last weekend, there has been some pretty gross instances of homophobia in our community, and I just want to call that out. You know, we can sit up here and talk about solidarity all we want, but if it doesn't come from the community, then it just doesn't do any good. So I'm going to read this proclamation, and I hope that Humboldt at large can take it to heart. So this is a proclamation in recognition of Queer Community and Culture Awareness Month, September 2023. Whereas recent as well as historic events in our own community have shown and emphasized how all people are affected by violations against those belonging to any marginalized group of people, it is extremely important for these underserved peoples, and especially their allies, to support each other. The queer community can serve as an example of this. Regardless of orientation, gender, or other differences, we share a similar experience, and whereas the City of Arcata celebrates the value, culture, and contributions of queer people to the community as a whole, as well as recognizing that the challenges and struggles of the queer community are akin to what other marginalized groups has faced when their beliefs and cultures have been threatened. And whereas Redwood Pride invites all people from Humboldt County, as well as the surrounding areas, to celebrate our unique, diverse, and colorful community with the Redwood Pride Pride-O-Ween Festival, Parade, and Evening Celebration in the City of Arcata on Saturday, October 28th. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the City Council of the City of Arcata recognizes September as Queer Community and Culture Awareness Month in the City of Arcata, dated September 6, 2023 by Sarah Schaefer, our mayor, and April Nicolai. I'm happy to give this to you.
Event this year is going to be on the 28th, coming up in October, and we're still looking for volunteers for it. It was going to be more of a full-day festival, but we are low on volunteers, so it's more going to be an evening type thing, mostly centered around the Playhouse. And there will be a parade before that, just still finishing up the details as best we can. So hope to see whoever can make it there up there.
Thank you so much, April. All right, that takes us to our report by commission or committee. And tonight we have the Transportation Safety Committee report presented by the TSC Chair, Dave Ryan. So Dave, if you want to come up, thank you so much.
Good evening. Good to see you. I'm Dave Ryan, Chair of the Transportation Safety Committee. I'd just first like to briefly acknowledge the other members of the committee. I think they'll get that fixed. Genevieve Cerna, Karina Johnson, Wendy Ring, and Mishka Straka. Appreciate everybody's time and energy they put into that. And of course, the staff also gives us great expertise. Natra Katri, David Case, and Todd Dockweiler with Arcata Police. So you guys have our annual report right in front of you, and I'm going to try to be brief. I just want to point to a handful of items in the report that represent the variety of issues we encounter and deal with regularly. I think I can speak for the other committee members also when I say that our participation is intertwined with our interest in the safety, health, and quality of life in Arcata. That's why we are committee members and do what we do. So some of the things that we deal with on a regular basis is the public written and oral communication. We have a lot of committed citizens in Arcata who follow city issues. They do their research and dedicate time to being engaged and involved with things that are going on in the city, and they come to us and they give us their opinions, their recommendations. They have to put in their personal time to do that, and I think we get some really high-quality input from a lot of citizens. Sometimes we have some regulars, but it's not always the regulars. There's a lot of people that come out of the woodwork and have interest in various safety issues surrounding transportation that show up for the meetings. And we're really appreciative of that. It seems like the involvement has just gone up in recent years for maybe good reasons and bad reasons. But some of those, a lot of the repeat issues we get are speeding, visibility at intersections, pedestrian safety, bicycle rights and responsibilities, and of course, over the last couple of years, we've been working on the Gateway project and the general plan. We also give feedback and input on current and planned city projects. For example, one that's going to be happening soon, the 8th and 9th Street conversion to one-ways, which I envision as being a great project. I hope it comes out what we're all hoping it will be. We get involved in the development of policies and updates. Of course, I talked briefly about the transportation element of the Gateway plan. Consider and review the transportation element of the general plan. And we're currently looking at the city speed hump policy. We've been talking about that, and that's going to continue at future meetings. That's something people have talked about a lot, and we may look at that in a new light with once Dan Burden came through and said, hey, maybe there's another way to look at this. So it's always fun to learn something new and have new perspectives. Let's see, and maybe we've got a whole slew of next year's goals. We really should kind of whittle that down to things that we could maybe really tackle. But if we were to tackle all 12 of these, it would be great. I'll just highlight 3 briefly. Recommending traffic calming projects and priorities. That's always something good that we think would result in more safety for all citizens, drivers, walkers, pedestrians, visually impaired people, people who have mobility issues. We will discuss and recommend and support initiatives to increase ridership of our transit. It's just an ongoing thing that we think we can become less car-centric and more of us use the bus system, improve the bus system, attract drivers. That would be awesome. And we came up with the idea to review and update Arcata's bicycle master plan, which kind of illustrated going through these various circulation elements that it's pretty outdated, and we tend to just go with what HCOG does, the regional master plan, but we did have our own that was last done in 2010, and I think it'd be good to get one specifically for Arcata. So that's all I've got, and if you have any questions, or I'd be happy to answer them, or I can get out of here.
Great, thank you, Dave, and just thank you so much for all the work that your committee does, and hopefully after this evening we'll have another committee member for you, because I know you guys are needing some more people in there to, fill up that committee. And there's more committee vacancies if anybody out there is interested. So yes, council, do we have any questions for Dave?
I would just like to say one thing about, you mentioned riding the bus, and so the Humboldt Transit Authority today and their meeting is going to make the 16th of September free bus day. So there's going to be a conference down at CR, and also we have the North Country Fair. So both of those on that day, Saturday, you'll be able to ride the bus for free. Just wanted to thank you very much for mentioning that, and I wanted to give you that update.
Thank you. I just wanted to mention your number one goal, well, not necessarily number one, but listed first, about the traffic calming. And I know that was also part of the direction from council for that. And so I just want to thank you for that. I do continue to get emails and calls from folks that have concerns about safety in their neighborhood. And I've been assuring people that that the committee is looking through it and will come to us with some recommendations so that we can have a thoughtful approach to how we are looking at things in our city. So thank you for having that on your list, and I look forward to you bringing that before us. So thanks.
So Yeah, thank you again for all of your hard work, all of the committee members, making our streets safe and our sidewalks safer. All of these goals that you've had are essential. I understand that you need to focus on some in particular. I look forward to when our local road safety plan is implemented. Items 6 and 9, I wanted to point out, of course, as everyone knows, is the Arcata Mad River Transit ridership initiatives and improvements go hand in hand and are essential for our housing infill development. And having a visually impaired member in my family, I am in full support of not only increasing ridership, but making it more accessible. And finally, what I'm hearing from the community is a desperate need for a Sunday service. So we'll see how that rolls out. Thanks for all the work you do.
Great. All right, any other questions or comments from the council? Or if not, we'll let you sit back down.
Great.
Thank you, Dave, so much.
Thank you.
I know, I want to give some applause for that. No applause. All right, that takes us now to early oral communications. So the city council values your comments, and this is a 15-minute time period that allows people to address the council on matters not on the agenda. Know that pursuant to the Brown Act, the council cannot discuss or take action on items that are not listed on the posted agenda, and at the end of all oral communications, the council may respond to statements and supported requests that require council action will be set for future agenda items or referred to staff. Speakers will be limited to 2 minutes, and there will also be time for public comment specifically on each agenda item, and then again at the end of the meeting under item number 12. And so this will be a 15-minute time period. So if you are here to comment, please line up at the podium so we have an idea of the number of speakers, and we will get started. 2 minutes, and take it away.
Good evening. I'm Fred Wise of Arcata1.com. To all 5 members of our Arcata City Council, City Manager and staff, Karen Deemer, staff, thank you. Thank you, thank you. You helped establish the creation of a future jewel of Arcata. I'm talking about the L Street corridor, full width, linear park in Booners. Each of you has done tremendous work over the years to retain the greatness of our city. And now you sent us on a great direction. I very strongly believe that in 10, 20, 30 years from now, this will be seen by everyone who lives in Arcata as one of the very great decisions in the history of our town. We now have the large task ahead of us of crafting the form-based code, the gateway code, to reflect the shape and fashion of the homes and businesses that we want to see alongside the park. And we can do that together. Without a full-width linear park, our wonderful town risks becoming ordinary and normal, which I dread. You have shown that people are more important than cars. People are what's important, and cars, we think, will one day go away. From your decision, as a result, our community will prosper. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you. All right, next speaker, please. And please, we ask during public comment that you do hold applause. It could make some people uncomfortable and make them not want to comment. So please do hold your applause, or shouts, or cheers, or jeers. Thank you.
I do want to thank Mayor Schaefer, Vice Mayor Matthews, and Councilmember White for giving direction to staff at the August 22nd joint study session to remove the K&L couplet from the Gateway Plan and seek alternatives such as improvements to K Street. By abandoning the K&L couplet and/or the L&K couplet, the L Street Linear Park can be the centerpiece of future infill and Arcata's contribution to the Great Redwood Trail. Moving forward with safety improvements for K Street will hopefully be welcomed by all. Please bring community members into the visioning and planning for the L Street Linear Park corridor. During Dan Burden's recent visit to Arcata and Humboldt Bay, he mentioned that community members around pathway corridors can be the ideal stewards. I urge the council to remove policy GA7I from the Gateway draft, no net loss of Class 1 trails. It allows relocation for all or part of the L Street Class 1 pathway. This policy is directed primarily at the L Street Rails with Trails corridor and is in conflict with a linear park. And then on a different note, building massing will continue to be a contentious issue. Please consider gap policies GA9P and GA9Q. These policies are prescribed in the original 2021 gap draft relief and are still and the third rendition below, Gateway Draft Plan 7/11/23, Clean Draft, Bulk Massing, page 103. GA9P, Human Scale Massing, provide human scale and pedestrian-friendly building massing where large buildings are broken into smaller volumes to fit into surrounding neighborhoods. GA9Q, transition to lower intensity uses and require buildings to incorporate massings and strategies to minimize impacts on adjacent family homes. I believe it's possible to meet future housing needs and still scale to existing neighborhoods. Thank you. And thank you for all your work on this.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
My name is Stephanie Harden, but I'm known as Stevie or the Rock Lady. I'm here to try to bridge the Grand Canyon-sized gap between what people think they know about homeless people and the truth. Every time I've heard someone speak about their houseless neighbors, it never fails. They postulate that people are houseless because they need mental health and refuse, or that they are in the active grip of addiction. In that rhetoric, you callously include people like me. You effectively and efficiently dehumanize an entire group and invalidate them. You decide who deserves help, and you decide who deserves to die. I feel your judgments through your community. I feel collective judgment. I can't enjoy this moment's beauty in a world where being homeless has been the reason I got raped, which was the reason I hid in drugs and addiction until I could get the help I needed. I found sobriety and sanity through 12 steps. I stand before a good many women right now begging to be seen as I am and protected. I'd love to show you we homeless will love and care about safe space, and when many of us would be elated to be offered therapy and sanitation, showers, bathrooms, trash cans. Let me show you what many of us are actually like. It's hurtful to people like me who try so hard every day for 4,103 days to write a grateful list every day. I listen to the people who say we are homeless due to drugs and mental health and wonder, do they write a grateful list ever? Would they find $500 for rapid eye therapy and do the work out of the floods of Katrina into a stable life to see it ripped away by COVID? To live lonely in a van for 3 years while people treat them like refuse? What will be your excuse when I'm left out in the elements and I have many people from many places mourn me and know I do not fit the profile? Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you, Stevie.
Good evening. My name's Joanne McGarry, and it's so weird to have this microphone not up in my mouth. Thank you to the council members who were able to make decisions about the linear park versus a car-focused roadway. I just want to thank you for that. There's many things I wanted to talk about. The person before me spoke eloquently about a lot of issues that I'm concerned about as well. To quote Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys, we've been having fun all summer long. And as we get into our fall and winter seasons, it's maybe a time for serious contemplation about our community, our town, Arcata, in terms of all the people's needs and what we'll need to have prepared for especially the vulnerable people in harsh weather conditions. So I do hope that we can get together either a task force or some sort of gathering, maybe even an open house discussion of how we can help one another as we head into the colder winter months, so that we do not have any more people suffering and or dying in our town because they have no place to be safe and warm and protected. So I was going to talk about a whole bunch of other stuff, but the climate issue, as you're seeing globally, with the latest being the Burning Man issue, we're dealing with some serious stuff. And I'll probably speak at the end of the meeting a little bit about more of that. But as you talk to the energy candidate for the Energy Committee, you know, the climate action plan needs to just get going even before it's implemented. We as a city need to start doing something now. Thank you.
Thank you, Joanne. All right. We'll take one more here. I don't know how many we have online. I think we'll be fine. There's nobody online, so come on up.
Thank you. I was going to wait to see if anybody was online. I really wanted to thank Mayor Schaefer and council members Matthews and White for your decision on eliminating, or your direction to the staff to eliminate the K and L Street, or the L and K Street couplet, and to proceed with the plans for the linear park. So again, thank you for that. I would also like to suggest again to bring Dan Burden into the conversation for making K Street safer. Some of his ideas were fantastic. It broadened my knowledge on how to make streets safer, and also for 11th Street. And I would suggest also bringing him into the conversation for the Runerf of L Street. I also like to draw your attention to Ukiah's. It's called they call it the Great Redwood Trail Ukiah Linear Park Master Plan. They did surveys with the community. They have a linear park advisory group. They have community forums, a community input forum, and a park planning forum. And so if you could look at the Ukiah's Linear Park Master Plan, I think that would be helpful. You get a lot of ideas. We are doing group walks with the community as like visionary walks along L Street corridor. So our first one will be the Saturday, the 9th at 5 o'clock on the L Street corridor and and 9th Street there, or the L Street pathway and 9th Street. So I welcome any of you who want to come as is allowed. So I think you gave a great gift to the future Arcata with the linear park. So thank you again.
Thank you, Patricia. All right.
Hey,
Oh,
Sarah,
yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I just saw that Ken is here. Maybe you want to take 2 minutes of public comment to pick up your Community Pride and Peace Deck proclamation, maybe say like a few quick words.
Good idea. Thank you. And is there anybody online? There's one online. Okay. Well, we'll hear from Ken. We'll hear from Ken for 2 minutes, and then we'll go to our online comment.
Thank you. Well, thank you. We had a marriage this year of Community Pride and Peace. Sasha and Steve, two of my co-founders, found each other through Community Pride and Peace. We got about 2,000 people on Facebook now, and I guess I'd thank you for the proclamation. Of course, the recognition is always appreciated. We have a lot of coordinating to do, and one of the things we're doing at Halverson Park in Eureka, in collaboration with the city of Eureka this year, is we're continuing CanaFest. So I'm just bringing this up. Anybody publicly who's listening, we'd appreciate you showing up to volunteer. We have a lot of new positions where people can fill and help us out to serve the community. We have more exciting things that are coming up, but thank you for everything you're doing, and thank you for this recognition. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Ken. All right. We can clap for Ken. Thank you. Okay. All right, and then we have one comment on Zoom, and that'll take us to our 15 minutes.
Call-in user, go ahead.
Good evening.
We can.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can.
Okay. This is Lisa Pelletier. I want to thank you for the L Street Linear Park and to eliminate the KL couplet. I think this area is going to be a real jewel. It's going to be sort of a main park through our town, and it's I don't think you're going to regret it. I think it's going to be something that people will remember for generations. Anyway, I just wanted to call and request that you hold a forum for the community. The last real forum and open house we had was January 2022, where the community was invited to weigh in on things like building heights and other areas of the general plan, of the gateway plan and the general plan. And I think building heights were a real concern back then, and I don't think that concern has gone away. So I think you need to please check in with the community again and hold that forum. You were talking about it before, and I felt very pleased by that, and I hope that you will revisit that again, and that we can have another forum and you can find out how the community really feels, because right now there are 3 people deciding for the entire community, and while I'm sure you're very conscientious, the community also needs a chance to have another opportunity to weigh in. The last time COVID was going strong, I didn't feel comfortable going to the forum, and I'm sure there are other people in the community who feel the same way. So I strongly encourage you to hold another forum. The other issue is I saw in the Mad River Union that there are the new attorneys that you're about to hire are revisiting the gateway recusals, and I am strongly against that. I think that this is going to be a very desirable place to live.
All right,
Land
Lisa,
values will
thank
rise,
you. That
rents will
is
go
your
up.
2 minutes. Thank you, Lisa.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. All right. That will now take us to the consent calendar. So all matters on the consent calendar are considered to be routine by the City Council and are enacted in one motion. There's no separate discussion of any of these items, and if discussion is required, that item is removed from the consent calendar and considered separately. At the end of the reading of the consent calendar, council members or members of the public can request that an item be removed for separate discussion. Okay, and bear with me here. This is a long one, and there's a lot of contracts, so there's a lot of numbers. Okay, item A, approve the minutes of the City Council meeting of August 16th, 2023. See, I'm already numbers. Item B, biweekly report on disbursements. Item C, approve a transitional contract for legal services with City Attorney Nancy Diamond. D, declare a vacancy on the Historical Landmarks Committee and reappoint Jill McDonald for a term expiring on September 30th, 2025. Item E, approve the project plans and award construction contract for the Carlson Park Improvement Project to Hooven and Company Incorporated in the amount of $1,457,035 and authorize the city engineer to increase the contract amount up to $291,407, 20%, for a total not to exceed $1,748,442, and to allow for any unforeseen contingencies, and to authorize the city manager to execute all applicable documents. Item F, approve the design and award construction contract for the 8th and 9th Street Improvement Project to RAO Construction Company Incorporated in the amount of $801,070, and authorize the city engineer to approve change orders and increase the contract amount by up to $80,107, 10% of the total bid, for a total not to exceed $881,177, to allow for any unforeseen contingencies and additional work as necessary, and authorize the city manager to execute all applicable documents. Item G, approve the design and award construction contract for the Terrace Avenue Improvement Project to Hooven Company Incorporated in the amount of $119,324, and authorize the city engineer to approve change orders and increase the contract amount by up to $5,667.89, 4.75% of the total bid, not to exceed $124,991.89, and to allow for any unforeseen contingencies and additional work as necessary, and authorize the city manager to execute all applicable documents. Item H, approve the purchase of 2 Ford F-250 pickup trucks, $121,592.66, including tax and freight, and award the purchase contract to Harper Motors, and authorize the city manager to execute all applicable documents. Item I, approve an amendment to the construction contract for the Corporation Yard Buildings Siding Replacement Project with Kyle Botten, DBA, North Star Development, which increases the amount by $20,483.80 for a total amount not to exceed $87,385.15, and authorize the city manager to execute all applicable documents. Item J, adopt resolution number 234-06, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Arcata, rescinding resolution number 201-10, and authorizing and approving the Arcata and Mad River Transit Systems Title VI plan pursuant to the Civil Rights Act of 1964. And item K, Adopt resolution number 234-05, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Arcata authorizing the adoption of Community Development Block Grant Business Assistant Loan Program and Micro Enterprise Financial Assistant Program guidelines. Do we have any members of council or members of staff that would like to pull an item?
I
from
would
the
like to
consent?
pull item C, please.
Any other items? All right, and if we have any members of the public that would like to pull an item, please make your way to the podium and state that to the microphone, and then hang out nearby to make your comment. And yes.
Could I pull item K?
Item K as well. Yes.
To be honest with you, I don't remember the alphabet letter, but it's the transit and the civil rights issue.
That is J. All right. So, do I have a motion for items A, B, D, E, F, G, H, and I?
Yes, I so move, Stillman.
I'll second.
Okay, so we have a motion by Councilmember Stillman, second by Vice Mayor Matthews. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, great. So that will take us, first we will address item C. Alex, if you'd like to go ahead.
Yes, I wanted to have an opportunity to be able to thank Nancy Diamond for being the city attorney for the city of Arcata. And I wish to give her the key to the city in appreciation of the services to this community between 2001 to 2023. And I will get up and give it to you.
And if anybody knows about serving the city, it's Alex. So we thank you so much, Nancy, yes, for everything and everything you've done for the city.
I am speechless. Key to the city. I didn't even know there was such a thing.
If Alex wanted there to be a key, there was a key for you, so.
So I guess that means that I don't have to worry about giving up my code to the door.
Well, that'll never work for anything. It's a ghost key, so Dylan will not care about that.
Dylan won't care about that. Wow, okay. Well, thank you.
Thank you
very
so much.
Yeah, it's been just such a pleasure. And I, this is bittersweet, but love the new city attorney that will be coming in, and I think you'll all enjoy working with them. And anyway, thank you for this opportunity, and thank you to staff for putting up with me.
And thank you. And with that, I would like to move for adoption of item C.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion, a second. Do we have to take public comment on that because we pulled it? So is there any public comment? All right, not seeing any. We have a motion and a second. All in favor of approving item C? Aye.
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 Okay, motion carries unanimously. That takes us to item J. So Joanna, if you'd like to come up here and make your comment. Thank you.
Honestly, I just hear Arcata, Mad River Transit, and then 1964 civil rights. And I would just like somebody to expand upon this just so we have an understanding, because those two issues are really important to me. So I'd like to understand what this is all about. So thank you.
All right. Thank you, John. Yeah, Netra, if you do want to just give a quick little background, that would be wonderful. Thank you.
I don't think I can give, good evening first. I don't think I can give the whole background, but I think the whole idea and the goal here is related to Title VI is making sure at the transit we are not discriminating anybody, and we are ensuring that our drivers are trained properly to not to discriminate against any people who are using the transit system. So that's in summary.
And that's how Title VI relates to the Civil Rights Act of 1964.
And
Thank
so
you,
I could
Netra.
just follow up with one thing. Today at the HTA meeting, Humboldt Transit Authority, we're really pleased that we were able to give a raise to our current drivers. And we now have I think today they said they have 13 applications for bus drivers. And one person had turned in the resignation and quickly, as soon as they found out about a raise, asked to please have it torn up. So there's a lot of excitement among the drivers, and it really helped a lot with morale. And so if you want to become a driver, you can apply. So thank you.
Thank you. All right. Do we have a motion for approval of item J?
I would move for item number J.
I'll second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second for J. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Okay, motion carries unanimously, and that takes us to item K. Councilmember White, if you'd like to ask your questions.
Yeah, I really am excited about this. The last time we got some great reports on how these micro loans were used, but there were a couple that we didn't know, and I'm just wondering, I know we have a jobs tracking form. Are we going to be doing any tracking with regards to, did it work? Did it help them? Or maybe it didn't, to kind of get some feedback, so when we do these future micro enterprise loans, if we need to tweak them or change them, or maybe they're perfect, I don't know.
We do quite a bit of tracking on the micro enterprise and business assistance program, both in terms of the number of jobs that are being created. We track through payment, obviously, and certainly we gather anecdotal stories about, the businesses and how they use the funds and what it meant to them. Most of these are pretty unique. Each of the businesses has something that's pretty different from all of the other businesses, and so there's some general lessons that we learn, but it's really at the underwriting stage where we determine and assess the the match and the fit for our program in that business.
So then I'm assuming those that we didn't get any feedback is because they maybe went out of business, we couldn't reach them, that kind of thing?
I'm not sure which example you're referring to where there was no feedback that we received.
I can't remember which council meeting. There was some great reports like Cafe Blue and some others, but then the last couple we didn't know. But it sounds like we have something in place and we'll be able to track and find out what's going on.
You're referring to the closeout report we did for 2017? Okay. Yeah, without looking at it, I wouldn't be able to comment on the specifics, but there are all kinds of reasons why we may not have followed up, with that particular business's experiences. In general, we're in close contact with the businesses, but sometimes they go out of business.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. Do we have any other public comment on item K?
Well, hearing none, I will move for adoption of item K.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on item K. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries unanimously. Thank you, folks. Okay, that takes us into old business. And item number one of some old business that we're excited to talk about is to approve the design and award for a construction contract for the old Arcata Road Improvement Project to GR Sunberg Incorporated in the amount of $5,996,109 and authorize the city engineer to approve change orders and increase the contract amount by up to $179,883.27, 3% of the total bid, for a total not to exceed $6,175,992.27, and to allow for any unforeseen contingencies and additional work as necessary, and authorize our city manager to execute all applicable documents. So, can we have a staff report from City Engineer Kotry, please?
Yes, good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members, member of the public, and staff. I'm very excited here for this one. Normally, this item would be in the consent, but it's here because this is a really, really old business. We've been working on this project since 2016, and over the years, we have been in this room and we have provided multiple updates and presentations on the project. Last update we provided was on December 21st, 2022. We came here and gave you a project background, where we were, and we gave you an update on the project. So I will not go into detail of project, how we end up here, but since then, we finalized the design, we bid the project, and today in front, we have, I would say, good bids to award and move forward. The only thing I want to maybe state here is we had planned only $4.5 million for the construction. However, the bid came a bit higher at 5.9, but we are recommending to move forward because if we don't move forward, it's going to get more expensive and expensive in future to rebid the project. So this is a decent price and we should move forward. We don't have funds for this year's budget. We are asking in the staff report, you will see in the budget section, to use next year's money, 24-25, to fund a portion of the project. And that money will not be used until July 1st when the budget is approved. So that's what we're asking for. So with that, I'll just take questions if you have any. I would just like to add that definitely this project is in compliance with our complete street policy.
I had a quick question. How long do we anticipate for the project to be fully completed?
We are expecting to start the project late this month, and there might be a winterization. Per the contractor has 150 working days to complete the project. We anticipate there'll be a winter suspension, and they will start the work again early summer sometime, March or April. So we are hoping and expecting to be project completed by end of 2024.
So I guess my question is, in the interim, do we have any traffic calming or pedestrian bicyclist safety measures until it's completed?
During the construction, contractor will provide a traffic control plan, and they will control the traffic during construction. And that is one of the bid item, and that's one of the most expensive item in the project. They are aware of that. They have to do a good traffic control for the project. So yes, they will be providing temporary traffic control during construction.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions from council before we open it up for public comment?
So glad to see this finally get approved and start moving. I mean, this is one of the first things when I was first appointed to the council that came before us. So it's so fun to see like a project reach its completion. So thank you for all your hard work. I do understand that it's a 2-year project, so I understand that the money is going to, hit both budget years. So I appreciate the forethought in that, and I'm excited. Thank you.
Well, also you have to think about the delays, and every time we delay something, nothing is how it was, and so we just have additional costs. And we did have an appeal on this, and there was many different things that happened for a period of time, and that's why it's taken so long. But I hear from neighbors that call me. Maybe they call someone else not happy, but they're very happy that this is finally going to happen, and they feel like it's going to deal with the safety issues that have been of concern to them.
Agreed. And I think all of us had this was on our first council meetings probably most of the time throughout the last couple of years. So, and Stacey, do you have anything that you want to add? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it was when we got elected in 2020. I think it was one of our first meetings. And as we met with neighbors out in that community, they were really anxiously awaiting the project. So, and here we are a few years later, so they will be very grateful to have that. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. And so hearing from our council, let's open it up to public comment. If there is anybody that would like to comment on this item in person, make your way to the podium now, or if you are on Zoom, raise your hand. Nobody in here? Anybody on Zoom?
No online public comment.
So with that, then if it's possible, I would like to move for the adoption, to approve the design and award of construction for the old Arcata Road Improvement Project. Period. It goes on and on. I could read it all or just quit. Do you want me to read it all? Would you prefer I read it all?
Bridget would like
Okay, I'll read it all. It says actually same thing in the agenda. Approve the design and award a construction contract for Old Arcata Road Improvements Project to GR Sunberg, Inc. in the amount of, I'm really bad at numbers, $5,996,109. Authorize the city engineer to approve change orders and increase the contract amount by up to $179,883.27, 3% of the total bid for the total not to exceed $6,175.92, whatever, 992.27, and to allow for any unseen contingencies and additional work as necessary, and authorize the city manager to execute all applicable documents. I so move.
I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
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 Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, folks. Thank you to our city engineer and all of the city staff for hard work on this, approving this project and getting it done over many years. So thank you so much. All right, that takes us to new business. And so our first item under new business is to appoint one new member to the Energy Committee for a term expiring September 30th, 2026, and one new member to the Transportation Safety Committee for a term expiring March 31st, 2026. And so we opened our meeting this evening at 5:30 with interviews for both of these committees, with one candidate for each committee, but they were both very strong, experienced candidates. So do we have any questions or comments about those interviews from the council?
I think they were both very, very qualified candidates. I'm super excited that we have such great representation and people joining these committees. I would love to make a motion to appoint Patrick Buckwalter to the Energy Committee for a term expiring September 30th, 2026, and Peggy Martinez to the Transportation Safety Committee for a term expiring March 31st, 2026. Thank you so much for volunteering. We really appreciate it.
Second.
Second.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. Any other comments from the council before we take it out to the public? All right, any public comment on our interviews and appointments to our committees? Don't see anybody here. Anybody on Zoom? Don't see anybody on Zoom. All right, so we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries unanimously. Congratulations to our new committee members, and thank you so much for wanting to volunteer your time. And we still have more committee vacancies out there. So if you are interested in serving the city of Arcata, we do have vacancies on quite a few of our committees. And so more information can be found, I assume, on the city's website. There we go. All right. Takes us into item B under new business, which is to discuss and consider approval of an agreement for city attorney legal services with White Brenner LLP. Can we have a staff report from our city manager, Karen Deemer?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council. As we've discussed tonight a little bit, our longtime city attorney, Nancy Diamond, is looking to retire, at least from the city, not from her whole law practice. But we take up a majority of her time, so as she starts to pull back. So back, as the council is fully aware, back in April of this year, we sent out a request for proposals, and at that time, we did receive 5 proposals that were rated by sort of the mayor and the vice mayor and any council members that chose to submit those rating sheets, as well as several city staff. Through that, actually, 4 of those proposals moved forward to panel interviews with the entire council. And then during those interviews, during that deliberation, the top 2 firms were selected by the council, and a subcommittee was formed to do further follow-up interviews with the top 2 candidates, as well as complete background reference checks on each of those candidates. So through that entire process, ultimately there was a recommendation from the subcommittee that was accepted by the council for us to move forward with a legal services agreement with White Brenner LLP. By way of background, so we've got Doug White here via Zoom. Doug White of White Brenner will be the primary city attorney for the city of Arcata. The deputy city attorney will be Nubia Goldstein, who's here in the audience with us this evening. I will just say, and the council spent a lot of time with these candidates as well, but I think the team of Mr. White and Ms. Goldstein really was something that stood out to staff. They serve predominantly cities that are 40,000 population or smaller. They specialize as a fairly small firm of 19 attorneys in the firm, and they specialize in local city government. So Doug and Nubia serve as co-counsel to many cities, and so they operate as a team. I think while one is designated to be our city attorney and the other deputy, I think that we will see them fairly interchangeably, as we see tonight with Nubia here in person. So with that, I'm going to kind of turn it over to the council, since especially the subcommittee had a lot of participation in this process. Happy to answer questions, and our outgoing city attorney will then introduce Nubia Goldstein to come up, and we've got Doug White also on Zoom if you've got questions for him.
Thank you. Yes, we were very fortunate to have a variety of good candidates, and so we really did, the mayor and I, give a lot of thought to it. There were a lot of meetings with staff and others, and it was it was a great choice that we were able to make. This firm really checked all of our boxes. There was nothing left that we were looking for. So we feel really fortunate. We've been fortunate to have an amazing attorney. And when you're losing, somebody that has been an important part of your process and team, it can be scary looking towards the future. And so when we, just from the beginning, had the good candidates that we did to choose from, it allowed us to move forward with excitement rather than fear. So we're very grateful to the firm that we hired, and we look forward to working with you.
Yes, and I just want to add being part of that subcommittee, I just learned a lot about all of the possibilities of things that city attorneys can do and have dealt with. It's always fun to hear anecdotes. And just with the professionalism and approachability of both Nubia and Doug, it was just great to meet with them. And I really think that this is going to be good for our city. And something else that I just wanted to add, because it has been a point circulating a little bit in our local media, and we did have a comment about it that did get a little cut off because that 2 minutes was up. But this idea that actually what really impressed me most about their firm was that they talked about, what the first thing that they do when they come into any city is this comprehensive legal audit, is what they called it. And so that includes looking at all of the council members' conflicts of interest, revisiting those, making sure that nothing was missed or nothing was mischaracterized, and also looking at other things, within the way that the city operates, our Muni code, our protocol manual for our council meetings and committee meetings. And so they kind of shared some of the list of what they go through with that, and it is very, very comprehensive. And I don't think it's just picking at a couple conflicts of interest that have to do with the Gateway Plan. It's just what they do when they come in. And so I think that that's important to recognize, that any city attorney would do that in any city that is going through any planning process or not planning process. So I just thank them for how thorough that is going to be, and for their dedication to shoring everything up. So I'll open it up to the rest of the council for any comments or questions that they might have.
I would just say you did a very good job, both of you, the subcommittee, and I would like to thank you for that, your service on that one.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very impressed at the first round of interviews, and I think that Mayor Schaefer and Councilmember Stacey Gonzalez did a wonderful job. I'm really looking forward to getting to know you and getting to work with you. So thank you. Welcome to Arcata.
You have something? Go ahead.
I was just going to say you had me at white. No, just kidding.
No relation, because that would be a conflict of interest. All right, I'll open it up to public comment. So do we have any members of the public that would like to comment on this item? If you're on Zoom, please raise your hand and come on up to the podium.
Joanne McGarry, and I just want to say that I really appreciate the thoroughness of your process here in choosing what is a law firm to replace our Nancy Diamond after all her many years of service locally, kind of a person who's in town. I think it's sort of exciting to have a fresh pair of eyes coming on from perhaps a different perspective, from a different place. My couple of concerns and or just observations is it's a law firm that deals with a lot of municipalities. I oftentimes wonder about caseload type of concepts. And also the second thing is that I would like to think that Arcata, its history and its future, and even its present, we deal with a lot of interesting issues. Thinking back to the McKinley statue and all that, and then thinking currently about the Earth flag issue. And in the climate world, I would love to hope that we will be in the vanguard of climate action that may be considered controversial or forward-thinking or unusual. And I just wanted to alert the new council that there's people like me who want to make sure that they understand that we are a special place and that we get, the kind of attention in terms of their caseload or whatever to really handle the issues that come before us, starting with, what I just said about the certain issues like the statue and the flag, but also things like our homeless policy and our climate action, and even our urban planning thing. So I just welcome you, and you'll be seeing my face a lot. So thank you for your hard work on this.
Thank you, Joanne. All right. Seeing no other comments in person, do we have any comments on Zoom? All right. Well, I will take us back to the council, or if we have, if Doug would like to say anything, or when Nubia comes up would like to say anything as well.
All right. Do you want to open Nubia, or?
Be happy to. Well, good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council. It's a pleasure to be here with you tonight. And I can tell you that with the number of times that we've been here and worked with your staff, met with the council subcommittee, and had the opportunity and pleasure to meet your outgoing city attorney, I can say wholeheartedly that it is very clear to us that Arcata is a very unique and dynamic community, and we're very excited about this opportunity to work with you in this part of this transition. And again, to reintroduce myself, I'm Nubia Goldstein. I'm one of the partners at White Brenner. I know Doug's online and available to answer any questions. But again, it's my pleasure to be here tonight to put a name with a face and with a firm. We like to think that we step into this role not just as an integral part of staff, but also someone that becomes part of the community and understanding the dynamics with the public and the relationship with the city attorney. So again, I welcome that, and I'm looking forward to working with all of you and working with your staff.
Thank you. Thank you. Does Doug have anything that he wants to add via Zoom?
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you very much for this opportunity. We are incredibly excited. We recognize and we're attracted to and applied to Arcata because of the issues that it addresses and kind of the ethos that it has. Couldn't be more excited about beginning this chapter and becoming really integrated into the community. And we do have some big shoes to step into, I'm not going to lie. But we want to make sure that that level of service that the community has received is able to continue into the future. So just thank you for this opportunity and the trust, and look forward to getting to know everybody and working with everyone closely. So thank you.
Thank you, Doug. All right. Do we have any last comments or questions from the council? Or if not, I will entertain a motion.
So I would love to be able to recommend that the City Council approve the agreement for City Attorney Legal Services between the City and White Brenner LLP as proposed in the agreement, and authorize the City Manager to execute the agreement.
Stillman seconds.
All right. We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you and welcome aboard. All right. Yeah, we clap for that one. That one feels nice to clap for. All right. That takes us to item 12 tonight, which is oral and written communications. Again, the city appreciates public input. What? Everybody left. Well, no, not everybody. The city appreciates public input, and this time is provided for people to address the council and submit written communications on matters that are not on the agenda. Know that pursuant to the Brown Act, the council cannot discuss or take action on items that are not listed on the posted agenda. And at the end of all oral and written communications, the council may respond to statements, and supported requests that require council action will be set for a future agenda item or referred to staff. Speakers addressing the council will be limited to 3 minutes. If you are here in person and want to give comment, please come line up at the podium. If you're on Zoom, raise your hand. And if you're on the phone, press *9. All right, take it away.
Thank you again for letting me step up here and speak into this new mic. My name is Joanne McGarry. I come here all the time as I'll alert you to the new council. And I am very interested in our city being visionary and in the vanguard of a lot of issues that are facing the world and our country and our state and our community locally. The homeless issue is one, and and the climate action and all things related to that in terms of trying to reduce our fossil fuel and greenhouse gas emissions, in terms of fewer cars being used. And I personally am working on the Arcata High School school drop-off in the mornings to try and see if we can't mitigate that a little bit so that the cars aren't idling down 16th Street, which is a safety issue and a health issue in many ways, and a climate issue. The other thing is I went to the iBlock party, and it was a great event again, and I'm so glad that we have a sister city relationship in Nicaragua with Camhuapa. And I saw that one of the latest projects they worked on was a latrine. And I read the poster about this wonderful project that helped the community greatly in terms of their daily needs and having that type of thing. And I actually think that that model, not so much the exact product, but that model of providing an opportunity in our community for people to have a place to use a bathroom facility is really, really important. And that's an issue that has come up recently in our community. So I think as we help somebody in another country, let's also reflect back on that for our own community and see what we can do to improve that issue. So, you know, I just wanted to say that. The other thing is with zero waste issues and keeping trash cans emptier, my Bright and Green project is evolving, but one of my final standalone things that I'm personally going to do at the North Country Fair is provide a rental opportunity of a plate and a cup for people who don't bring their own, so that when the food vendors are at the North Country Fair, we can have a plate and a cup rented out with a little deposit that will be refundable, so that people can use a plate and a cup and bring it back to me in this nice little mesh bag, and we will keep trash cans emptier. And, you know, it's so important. That's such an important part of our climate action community, is to keep trash cans emptier, reduce waste in any way we possibly can. So thank you for letting me speak and sharing this with you.
Thank you. All right. No other in-person comments that I'm seeing. And if you do want to comment, come up to the podium, please. That's what you got to do. All right.
Hello, it's very nice to meet you all, and I thank you for all you've done for the city. I just have a quick comment. My name is Jesus Mendoza. I'm visiting, I guess, I come often to visit my girlfriend because she goes up to Humboldt State, and just love seeing the town. But hearing about this project and hearing about it for a little bit, actually, it makes me interested to like hear more about it and like see it actually come into full fruition. And if I could add just maybe if we could somehow, I guess, integrate the marsh more into that plan, since it does lead to Arcata, or to Eureka from Arcata. I feel like maybe we could like work out something with the other city, the nearby city, and try to again bring a little focus, I guess, to that area where they're trying to build up those. I think is what they were trying to say. They were building up those either apartments or parking. But I would like to again refer back to the marsh and the fact that we're on the coast, I guess, just how we can kind of move forward with those plans and not try to mess it up, but also try to keep it well and alive, of course, because that is also a part of the plan. I guess they were asking more about the ecology or just the more green in the plan. So that's all I hope to say and hope to hear.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it. All right. Anybody on Zoom?
There's no online public comment.
Wow. All right. Quiet out there tonight. Okay. That takes us to council and staff reports. So do we have any staff updates? No staff updates?
Yeah, just a couple, just quick. We got a couple of good pieces of news. If Nature is still here this week, they were both in his department with a lot of support from other departments. But the first one is that we did receive a grant through Caltrans that will help us do planning for pedestrian and bicycle connectivity over the Samoa Bridge that goes over Highway 101. So the bridge that's owned by Caltrans, but then borders city streets on both sides. And if anyone's tried to cross that as a pedestrian, you'll understand why Nature's been applying for these grants for many, many years and is excited to finally receive a planning grant. And then the second grant that engineering also received was in partnership with HCOG, and it was for safe routes to school planning, again, pedestrian and bicycle infrastructure in and around Fontana Wayfay. So it'll be a while before all those contracts come through and we kick those off, but it was two really great pieces of news coming out of there.
Wonderful. Thank you. All right, that will take us to our council updates. And so we'll start at this end this time, but actually the ends have changed, but we'll start with Stacy.
We just wanted to mix things up. So I have several. I'll try to go quickly. First of all, on behalf of the chamber, they have their mixer tomorrow, 5:30 to 7 at Umpqua Bank, and that's a great opportunity to mix in with local business folks and community members to see what's going on in the community. And the chamber will also be representing our community on a panel at CanaFest, which Ken Hammock was talking about during public comment, and they will be discussing tourism, and that's this Saturday. So we thank them for their participation in that. I know Dan Burden was a huge hit in our community, and the videos are now also up on the HCOG website, so you can get to the slide decks and the videos. Everything we've got is on there at this time. The last Summer Concert Series event is this coming September 10th from 11 to 4. And if you haven't been, it's fun. They're on the plaza. It's free to the community from 11 to 4. There's music, food, arts, and a great chance to connect with your community members. And Alex and I attended the annual Labor Day picnic that the unions put on. And they provide it for the community, also free of charge. That was a great opportunity for us to see colleagues and friends and to meet new people. It's a great family-friendly event that they do for our community every year, so I wanted to thank them for that. A few of us participated in the Pack Out cleanup in Carlson Park, and I just wanted to thank the Pack Out Green team and the many volunteers for keeping up our community and keeping it clean. And if you want to participate in one of those, you can go to their website. And I love the model of just it being 1 hour, because I think that a lot of us can wrap our minds around giving up an hour of time for cleaning up our community. So it's a great model, and they sure get a lot done in an hour. And then let's see, finally, the Vice Mayor and also Councilmember White and City Manager and we attended a Cal Cities Division meeting in Fortuna. And we got a chance to learn more about each other's regions. I had the honor to be elected as second vice president of our Redwood Empire Division. And so I look forward to representing Arcata and our region on a statewide level. And we also had a fire safety presentation by one of our forestry committee members. Jana Valkovich was there, and she gave a great presentation, and we are lucky to have her on our committee. I think that's all for me. Thanks.
I was just wondering if it would be appropriate if we could applaud Stacy's new position with the California League of Cities. All right. I just wanted to piggyback on the CanaFest. Ken had mentioned that there were several opportunities to volunteer. One is they need some bartenders, so think about that. I had an opportunity to attend the Redwood Region Economic Development Commission, and we were able to receive a report from the executive director and the deputy director from Humboldt Family Service Center, and how REDEC loans assisted in the recovery process. It was right in the middle of COVID, and was able to keep the wheels moving, which is really crucial for mental health services. CUNA had a participatory budget process brainstorming session at the West Village Studios, which are out in Valley West, the new Home Key project, the newest. CUNA also had another successful community clean the sidewalk event. And also they held their second annual free community barbecue with Dilo, the barbecue, she's our senior planner, by the way, barbecue extraordinaire. Had a great turnout over the 3 hours that we had this. There were 150 residents in attendance, and it celebrated all the new residents out in Valley West to come meet your neighbor. Cal Poly Humboldt Comfort Inn Bridge Housing, as I said, the Grove Home Key Project, as well as the newest residents over at the West Village Studios. So we had a lot of people from all communities, the Latinx, the students, the new residents, the unhoused community. Everybody came together to celebrate and have a barbecue and just, do community. So it was great. Thank you.
Yes, it was very nice. Meredith and I got to attend with Kimberly, and I would add that that was like probably the most diverse range of people I've seen at an event in a long time, all the way from kids to seniors and everybody in between, and everybody was having a great time. My only main update is that the iBlock party happened and it was great and everybody had a wonderful time. The block was packed. There were 3 great bands, and we don't know the final numbers yet, but the committee raised a lot of money and felt like it went very well. Even better than last year, which was the first year back since the pandemic, and it was more money than they had ever raised. So I'm excited to hear back on that report, and that's all I have.
Yeah, I just want to say I was excited to attend all of these events this weekend. I think the music on the plaza was amazing. It was a huge crowd. The barbecue was lovely. I got to MC the latter half of the I Street Block Party, and it was so much fun. The North Coast Growers Association is having their dinner on Sunday. We've got North Country Fair coming up. So I just want to say that, we've got a lot of people talking about, the character of the town, and I'm telling you, if you were at any events this weekend or go to any of them, you can see right in front of you the character of the town, and nothing will change that. It's the people of Arcata that make the character of the town, and I saw that out in absolute full force this weekend, so I just wanted to recognize that. I just was wondering if you could very, very quickly give us a quick update on the police. I know that we've got some great movement in the APD, and I just want to celebrate them a little bit.
Yeah, in terms of recruitment, so I think the community does know that Chief Ahern will be retiring in October, so we do have an active recruitment out for police chief. But we have made a really concerted effort around police officer recruitment, and as the council and the community probably remembers, we have 29 sworn officers that are budgeted for. We were down 10 positions within our sworn. That's almost 30%, over 30%. We have, through the lateral incentive program that the council approved, we have brought on 4 laterals that have taken advantage of that program. We did have a real boost in morale with an officer who left after just being here a little over a year, and then returned just a couple of months later, and is sharing the news downstairs of how good the department is. So that has been great. So we had those 5 that have come really able to hit the street running. And then we have 4 in the current academy that, as of here, September, are all still in the current academy. So that's great. And so they will graduate in December. And then we've actually made 3 offers now with filling both of your overhires and one other overhire that is just there right now for 3 candidates that will start the academy in January. So I have asked the police department to put actually their police officer recruitments on hold. That is something to celebrate in our town for sure. And so once we get these 4 graduated from the academy and into field training in January, that'll be really exciting. But I think you see it. I see it on the street already with the laterals that we've come. So there's a great buzz downstairs and a lot of excitement for the type of policing that is here in Arcata.
Yeah, and so I just want to say that everybody watch your speeds on the streets, because the PD is out in full force, and hopefully will be, especially in the school areas, please watch your speed, because I think we'll be starting to get some tickets given out soon. So.
Well, I was happy to meet Jared and Evan, our 2 new officers, at the Packout Green. They were both there. They were sent by, I'm sure, by the chief to make sure there wasn't a demonstration this time as there was last time. And that was really pleasant to have that opportunity. I'm really glad the I Street Block Party turned out so well. I was there for 2 hours helping set up, but I couldn't stay for the whole event. So Stacy and I went to the Union event, and then I had something else I had to do after that. One of the things I wanted to mention is that today, CERT had, and Stacy could talk about this too, Steve Mandrone was talking about the Great Redwood Trail, and I thought it was really interesting, all the things that are going to be happening in our county. And it is recorded, so if you wanted to be able to see that, one could get the recording, and Stacy would help you with that because she's staff for that group. I wanted to ask you, Karen, if you could just bring up to date, I watched the city council meeting and with the planning commission and about the fire department, and I read in the paper what's going on with you, Cal Poly, with the city of Arcata and the fire department, and it would really, I think it would be good for people to understand And I thought Kevin Hoover did a great job in explaining it in today's paper after he received a letter about buildings, etc. So thank you.
All right, well, I haven't read that part of the update in the Mad River Union, but I will. But per actually a conversation that we had, it's probably been over 6 months ago now, but the fire district and Cal Poly Humboldt and the city have had a small working group that have met 3 to 4 times and discussed sort of a scope of work for a request for proposals that the city will be releasing. Once we have a better sense on cost so this will be a fire capacity and a long-range planning document for fire services in the city of Arcata. So looking at all sorts of alternatives from, infill to spreading out, housing throughout the districts. And so that RFP has just been signed off by the fire district and Cal Poly last week. Our staff are just helping gather the support materials for those. So hopefully we will have it out on the street by the end of, I'll say, next week. And with, 6 to 8 weeks in terms of turnaround time. And then ultimately that proposal will come back to this council for approval because the city will be the lead agency in that fire capacity study.
I'm really happy that you would talk about this because I think it's really important, especially after I watched that meeting, and that people understand that there are things happening and they don't have to be so worried. The other thing I thought was really interesting, I got all excited about it because I started to think about all the years that, well, not years, probably months, that Wesley Chesborough and I slept on floors in Sacramento because we were dealing with the Arcata Freeway, which was proposed to be 3 lanes on either side with an expansion for a 4th. And we were trying to bring it down. I was elected on stop at 4. And so that was one of the things, housing, many, recreation, etc. But we were able to get it scaled down to 2 lanes with an expansion to 3. And what was really exciting is that at HTA today, I'd heard this was going to happen, but I didn't know if it really would, that we wrote a letter of support for looking at 14th Street down up to Sunset of being able to cap the freeway. And if that was to happen, I don't know if it'll be in my lifetime, but hopefully in my grandchildren's or their children, my great-grandchildren, we'll be able to see a connection between both sides of the west and east side of Arcata with transportation, housing, parks, walkability. And I think that's a really opportunity for us in the long run, and I would hope that us as a council would really support that kind of a concept. If they needed any letters written, etc., that we would support it. I did talk to David Loya about that. I'm going, it's a possibility to think. Our plan commission, I think, is feeling pretty beaten up, and I'm thinking that this is a way that they may be able to think about something different, and what could that actually look like in the future, and how all that could fit. So I was very excited about that today. Couldn't help it, and Nancy heard me talking about and actually I can't wait to call Wesley Chesborough and tell him about this, because that was such an important thing, trying to not deal with any more division that we already had in Arcata and not make it any wider. So I think that's it. So thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Alex. Yes, it is an exciting idea. I held my tongue, but I got to participate in the Dan Burden walk with Netra and some folks from Caltrans as they were working on the planning for that grant, and got to just kind of walk that whole loop of the area over the footbridge and around Sunset and just kind of see how disconnected that area really is and how that could be a great avenue to improve that connectivity. So it's a really interesting idea, and thanks for bringing that up, Alex.
It is, and I go back to, the document talks about how much housing was lost in Arcata. I know definitely we had at least 200 living units that were completely removed because of the freeway expansion. And before that, when they dealt with the 60s, when they made an expressway, they removed more housing at that time. So we are always trying to catch up, and that's how I feel about housing, that will we ever get caught up, because we keep losing what we had. And for those 2 expansions, plus they also looked at our community and the underprivileged and the income level, etc. So we have a lot of those items that could be beneficial in applying. And if you haven't been to San Francisco and you do go and you take the road that goes not 19th, but the one that goes to the marina, you will pass under an overpass, where they have actually built that. They've connected the freeway, one side of the street, one side of the road to the other, to Chrissy Field. And they have a park up there and a walkway. And so that gives people an image of what could actually happen here. I think ours is longer than it would be because we're going to be going from 14th to Sunset. So thank you. Excitement.
All right, thank you. Okay, that wraps up our council and staff reports and takes us to dates of future meetings. So we are going to confirm 2 study sessions with the Planning Commission on Tuesday, September 26th and Tuesday, October 24th, 2023 at 6 p.m. in the council chamber. Do we confirm? I confirm.
I had a quick question,
Yes.
if I could. So that's 3 meetings in the next 2 months, 1 study session and 2 council meetings. And I know everyone is really working hard, but would it be possible to get the agenda posted for the study session as early as possible? Because, it's going to be council, study session, and there's going to be this nice week in between our council meetings that the community as well as council could utilize if it was available. Obviously.
I'm sorry, Kimberly, I'm having trouble understanding. What are you asking for? Could you just say it one more time so I could get it? I apologize. I had to switch. I have hearing aids and I have one that's not working. So I've switched with Stacy so I could actually hear you on this end. But I'm sorry, I couldn't understand what you were asking for.
Well, I think if I answer it, that might clarify. So the question is, can we just get the agenda out as early as possible for the study sessions? And I will be sending an email to the 3 of you that will be participating in the next Gateway conversation, because part of that agenda will be what are the topics that you would like to see? What are the aspects of the remaining Gateway element that you want to have in that discussion so that we can build that agenda? But then, yeah, absolutely, we'd love to get it out earlier.
Wonderful, thank you.
And I believe we'll be meeting very soon, I think this week, to begin some of that planning with myself and staff and Chair Davies. So, yes, we'll get it out soon. Okay, so do we confirm those 2 dates for Bridget so she can have our
Yes.
confirmation?
Yes.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, and with that, we are adjourned.